how well will my KTM 300 run with a stock carburetor and some good jetting from Jetty Jetting. Hey, what's up guys, Rather here with Dirt and Iron. Here behind me is my KTM 300 that I was riding for over a year. This is the build I built last year. And you guys know I've been running this Lectron carburetor on my KTM for a long time and I loved it. It was a good carburetor, it ran really well. Then I got a brand new Lerctron H series that I installed a couple months ago, and that is even a little bit better than this one. So I was really happy with the Lectron carburetors, but these stock Keihin carburetors that are on these bikes are actually not a bad carburetors. If you jet them correctly, they run really well and they might have a little more snappy power. So what I want to do today, I want to take this old carburetor that was on the bike before I bought it. We're gonna rebuild it with some all balls kit. We're gonna use new cable and use a Jetty Jetting kit. Follow their recommendation. Throw it on my KTM 300 and see how these things run. Alright my friends, so this is first gear. Bike just idles like this. So let's try to see how it pulls from the bottom. This is just idle. Doesn't want to die. First gear. Let's try it in second. Second gear. Woohoo! Let's do third gear. Wow! Alright. So it pulls pretty good. And it's really nice and snappy from the bottom. You can probably hear it. I'll stop. You can probably hear it. It sounds very healthy. First kick probably. It sounds so healthy. It pulls really nice. Friends, so this is a trail where I came when I was testing Lerctron H, and it did a really nice work uphill. Let me take this bike with Jetty Jetting on the same trail. I will try to stay low RPM and we'll just compare, you know, apples to apples, see how it goes. I will try to stay first, second gear and really low RPM, and I will try to not clutch it if I don't have to. This is first gear. This is pretty steep. Second gear. It's nice and crisp from the bottom. You can hear it on the video. so nice over here. I'm in second gear. First. Alright guys, so we have a lot of testing done on this bike with jetting on the stock carburetor. I did over 10 hours on this bike, so the beginning of the video and today we have a gap like 5 to 6 weeks. So I do have a good feel for the bike now, how it runs with jetting. And as you can see behind me, there's snow on the mountains, and I'm in this gear because it's cold to ride in the Jersey only. So I have this Fly Patrol gear that I did review like 2 years ago. So just wanting to give you a little update. After 2 years of riding it, this thing is holding up great. I always use it when it's a cold weather. Sometimes when it's not too cold, I take off my sleeves and use it as a vest. If it gets warm on the ride, I open these vents and the air is flowing through me. I can put my cell phone here so I can, you know, take pictures or stuff like that. So I really like to use this, especially on the trails. Let me know below what you guys use for your cold trail riding. I would like to know, is it hoodie, is it the vest, or do you have something specific? But this Petrol from Fly Racing gear is really cool for something like that. Alright, so let's go back to these carburetors. Today is 45 degrees and majority of the riding I did on this video is from 45 degrees, 4,000 elevation, so it's a kind of cold weather. Now some parts of the video, of the footage are from 85 degrees. Like a month ago we had 85 degrees. This is California. It changes like drastically in a month. So in February we had 85 degrees outside, which is like high 20s in Celsius, and today, which is end of March, we have only like 44, 45, which is like 7 Celsius. So you can see there is a big difference. And when I was riding 85, bike was super crisp and responsive. I loved it everywhere. You can probably hear on the video. I was really, you know, excited riding this bike. I loved it everywhere. It had such a crisp response. And that was down at 2,000 feet and 85 degrees. Now I came back up here, and just a couple of days ago it got this cold, and I went for a ride, and I felt that bike is running lean pretty much everywhere. Bottom, mid, top, I just felt it's running lean. So I checked the chart from JD, and they recommend to keep the same pilot, but go a little bit bigger on your main jet and raise your needle or change different needle. So what I did is just kept the same needle, but bring it a little bit higher, so you let a little more fuel on the pilot jet, which is 45, and then I changed 170 into 172 for the main jet, and that brought the bike back to it, that crisp response everywhere. So jetting is not you know, do it and forget it. You need to play with it, and you kind of need to know, you need to understand. But again, you have a chart that will tell you what to do, and it's not a rocket science, guys. You know, jetting is not a rocket science, especially if you know that the bike is running good in this condition, and then condition will change. You go either to higher elevation or to lower elevation, or the temperature will change. You know how to react, go leaner or go richer. If you don't know, just check the chart these guys have on their kit, and you should be good to go. So I want to compare these two guys today, Lectron and JD. We'll look on a few different things, how we can compare it. First of all, let's talk about the power. If we only talk about the power when the bike is set 100%, I like JD Jet more. It has more raw power, it feels a little bit more alive, it pulls from the bottom, it has very nice bottom, it's amazing bottom, to the point where I had to adjust my power valve to open a little bit later, because it was opening too soon and I was doing unintentional wheelies. So I want my bottom to now be without a power valve and then open a little bit later when I know that, you know, I have enough speed and stuff like that. So definitely the bottom power and the overall power is better with JD jetting. It's more raw, and it's just a little more fun to ride. Lectron is also good power, and you saw other videos I did on the Lectron. It also, you know, pulls the wheelies in second gear when I go on a throttle. It just feels a little more polished, a little more smooth, and for some guys it might be better, you know, more predictable, more smooth, more polished, and it really feels a little bit like a fuel injection. So the difference between JD and Lectron is pretty much the difference between carbureted bike and a fuel injected bike. That's what I would how I would explain it. Like, I used to have 2004 WR, and I did JD jetting on that FCR carburetor. I did all the mods on that carburetor, and the bike turned into a beast. It was really great running bike. And then recently I had 2019 WR450, and I also did a bunch of mods on that bike, and the bike also ran really good. But I think that 2004 felt a little more raw and just a little more beastie. So that's the difference also here. JD jetting is a little more raw. This one is a little more smooth and polished, but both have good power. Both will put smile on your face. For myself, the power, I prefer JD jetting. So in power for myself, this guy wins. Now let's talk about the fuel economy. You know, sometimes on this trail bike, you go for a long rides where you are gone for an entire day. So the fuel economy is an important thing. And I can see that with JD jetting, I need to use a little bit more fuel. I didn't really measure it. I don't know exactly, so don't quote me on it. But it kind of feels like with the Lectron, I'm able to put maybe 10 to 20 miles more on the tank like this. That's what I feel, but again, don't quote me on it. So definitely, if you go for a long rides, you can bring the Lectron will be better for you. Now you can also carry extra fuel, and once you burn little fuel, you can just fill it up. It's up to you, but definitely Lectron wins in the fuel economy. Now let's talk about how easy is it to use. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I had to adjust the JD jetting, follow their chart. I had to change the main jet and move the needle, so I had to kind of take my tank off because I have big tank. It's difficult to get into the carburetor. Once I can get into carburetor, it's not difficult to do. It took me like maybe 10-15 minutes to do all these things, put everything back, and bike was nice and crisp. But I had to do that, and for some people it's a little headachy to do it. So Lectron is way easier to use. Once you have it set, then Lectron will adjust to temperature, will adjust to elevation. Again, it will be like your fuel injection. This is my second Lectron I have. This is H series, the yellow one, and I had the HV high velocity before. And both, I had this experience that it ran well pretty much everywhere, and it adjusted to different temperature. Last winter I was on Lectron and I didn't have any issues when the temperature was changing. Now on JD you need to play with it. So here Lectron is way easier to use. If you are the guy that you just want to have bike running all the time, you don't need to touch it, just do your preventive maintenance, then definitely Lectron is better for you. Now the price, it's very easy. $70 on your stock carburetor, or 400. And if you have a newer bikes, then you have to go carburetor, and also your throttle body here is a little bit different setup. For older bikes, I have, this is 2004. I can use the same, the throttle assembly here. I have different cable and just the carburetor, so it was around $400. So definitely the winner here. JT is way cheaper, and that's so. At the end, we have 2 points: price and power, and then fuel economy and ease of use, ease of mind is Lectron. So I guess 2-2. Make your own decision. Let me know below in the comments if you have this experience, or let me know what would you prefer to have, like a really good power responsive, and you don't really care much about the fuel economy because you don't go for long rides. Like myself, for example, my usual ride on the trails is 3 hours, 4 hours here where I live. So this 3-gallon tank is plenty. I never ran out of fuel. That's really plenty for me. And maybe I can get like a quarts bottle of fuel in a backpack, and when I burn it, just pour it in, and I will be good for maybe like 100 miles or something like that. Like my normal ride is 50-60 miles when I go for a nice loop around my house in 4,000 elevation, and that's majority of my riding on the trails. So for me, it really makes sense to be on JD jetting because the power I like more, the fuel economy is good enough for what I need to do, and I don't need to adjust it a lot because I ride in the same elevation, same conditions. Yes, summer and cold winter you need to adjust it, but again, not a rocket science, not that difficult to do. So for me, it makes more sense to be on JD jetting. But let me know, guys, what is your experience? What are you running on your KTM Huskies or YZs or whatever two-strokes you have, Betas or Shercos? And one more thing is that the new KTMs, if you go for JD jetting, it's the best to get a Keihin carburetor, not a Mikuni, because there are little things on the Mikuni that people don't like. Personally, I didn't ride a stock Mikuni with a JD jetting, so I can't really tell you, but that's what I keep hearing from guys with way more experience than me, that they really prefer to go for a Keihin and then put JD jetting in that carburetor. So that would bring you close to a price of a Lectron if you are buying all new Keihin carburetor. That's maybe a little bit cheaper, but it's very much comparable. So I don't know, you guys need to make your decision, see what kind of riding you are going to do. If you go for these epic rides where you ride from zero elevation, you go all the way up to 10,000, and you know that the temperature will change, and then you know that you will change elevation a lot, and you need to be riding for like 6-7 hours, then I think Lectron, especially the Lerctron H, the new one, really makes sense for you. But if you are like myself, that majority of your riding is kind of similar area, similar elevation, then probably JD Jetting will put a smile on your face. Alright guys, well, let me know your opinion below. I really want to hear what you have experienced with these carburetors, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later.